What's up, guys? Travis from Solo Custom Archery. I'm out here doing some spring scouting today. Spring's a good time to do whitetail scouting. You can see around pretty good. The foliage isn't up yet. So it's good to see what happened last winter, and the sign's still there and everything. But just don't let yourself get fooled about when you come back in October, November, all the foliage will be on the trees then, and things will look much different. So just remember that. Scout in the springtime, but you also have to scout as it gets closer to season to see what's actually going on at the time. You know, what I'm looking at right now is what happened last year, you know, during rut and everything. It's not necessarily what's going to happen next year, and that's the important part. The reason I have my stand on my back, I got my Lonewolf on. A lot of times I'll carry with me when I'm scouting, and there's a couple reasons for that. One is if I find a tree and I want to get a better look of what I'm actually going to be looking at when I'm hunting, I'll set my stand up in it. Get my stand up there, see if anything needs to be trimmed, see what it actually looks like from above, rather than just looking on the ground. And the other reason is probably even more important is practice with my stand. I want to practice carrying it. I want to be comfortable carrying it. I want to know it when I have to go through brush and be able to walk through the trees and stuff like that. Walk quietly without dragging on everything. Does take some practice. You have to bend down a little bit more to clear under trees and stuff like that. Bend at your knees rather than bend over at your waist. Little things like that you only get good at by actually doing it and actually walking around with your stand on. And the other thing is setting my stand up. I want practice at setting my stand up. I want to be able to do it efficiently and quickly and quietly. Not doing it all year and then going out in the middle of the night and doing it in the dark when you haven't done it since last year. Not a very good idea. It's going to be frustrating, going to be making a bunch of noise, and not going to be quick at it, and the whole thing's going to boil down to a miserable experience. So that comes to what I want to talk about in my video today. I want to talk about the subject of mobile hunting, and I think I've touched on this before in some of my videos, but as far as I'm concerned, you can't talk enough about it, and I can't emphasize enough the importance of it, and there's just not enough out there on the subject of mobile hunting. Everything in whitetail hunting that we watch on TV, everything that's marketing towards us is this idea of stationary hunting, like for a guy who has this great area where all he's going to do is park his truck, walk 50 yards to the stand, and sit above his food plot or something like that. Which is, if you have that situation, that's great, but a lot of people don't. And the reality is a lot of people are, walking out to public ground just like this and carrying a stand in their back, setting it up, taking it down when they leave, scouting, constantly finding different spots, moving your stand according to wind, according to season, according to hunting pressure. To me, that's where the fun really comes in. I have that situation I was talking about earlier where I have that private ground spot and a couple different spots, permanent stand set up that I've been hunting on my whole life, and the odds are much better on that, and there's more deer there, private land, and I'm not against it. I still do it. I reserve that for my kids to hunt for a good spot where they can have easy success. But to be honest with you, for me, it's more fun to hunt this style, this mobile hunting style. Gets me out here all year, looking for different spots, exploring new spots. If I think this particular deer is doing this and I can move it to here, or if now, because it's November and there's more hunting pressure over here, or if a lot of people are sitting up on this open field and now the deer are going to start skirting the open field, I could set my stand up over there. If the wind's blowing a different way today, I could set my stand up on the other side of the trail or on the other side of the hub, whatever I'm hunting. So to me, mobile hunting is what it's all about. It makes it more fun. It's forever changing. It's you never know what you're gonna get. You're always going to new spots, so you never know what waits around the corner, what's gonna come out right before dark. So for me, especially as I get older and more experienced, that's the kind of hunting I'm more into. With mobile hunting, the rules are much different. Like I said before, most of everything that is marketed to us as whitetail hunters is for the stationary hunting. They have all this scent lock stuff, all this heavy clothes that you're going to put on, these big harnesses, you know, it seems like just everything you see out on the stores is almost worthless for us. You know, for me, in the area I live, these hunting, there's such few public grounds places compared to the amount of hunters that these things are just, there's people hunting every day in here. So in order to even get where animals are, you have to walk far from the parking lot, you know, maybe as much as an hour away. So, you know, I don't see how you're going to put on a full camo suit and all this clothes, rubber boots and all this stuff, and this harness and go walking through the brush for an hour in the dark. It's just never made sense to me. So when I come out hunting, I'm usually dressed like this. I have my street clothes on, comfortable clothes, and then my stand and a pack on my stand that carries the actual clothes that I'm gonna be wearing, because I'm not gonna wear the clothes in, set my stand up, be drenched with sweat, be hanging up on every piece of brush on the way in, making a ton of noise. I have to come in dressed comfortably, and then set my stand up, and then have the clothes for when I cool off and start getting cold. I'll pull it out of my pack and put it on. And for that, what I've gone with is crushable down, puffy jacket, puffy pants, and then I'll bring maybe another set of long johns in there, stuff that's crushable, fits in my pack good, and will keep me warm, and that I don't have to wear on the way in. And then my harness setup, that's one thing I'm out here to go over, is I'm trying a new harness setup this year. In the past, I've tried different ones, but most of the harnesses are just gigantic, and you know, they hang up on everything. It's hard to climb a stand with it on. It doesn't fit in your pack. It'll take up half your backpack just for a harness. So I think I got something worked out that's a little better. I'm going to try it out here. Cut. Okay, well, here's the new part of my setup is trying out a new harness and this lineman's belt. And the lineman's belt I seen a couple years ago on the TBW podcast. Jason Sam Koviak, he's got a lot of cool stuff on there. So I've been planning on making one. I just got around to it now. And I think it's nice because you could stay tied off the whole way up, and your hands free to, you know, to use both your hands to set up your stand. So I'm interested in that, making things easier, maybe making it a little bit quieter. And then I replaced my harness this year, so I'm trying out a new harness. I got a rock climbing harness. This is just the kind that just goes from your waist down. Ordered on Amazon for 25 bucks. So, you know, I've been trying out different harnesses my whole life with all the hunting design harnesses, and as far as I'm concerned, they're all garbage. They're like, you know, anywhere from $180 and all those ridiculous prices. They get hung up on everything. They're hard to put in. They're hard to put on with a bunch of clothes on. Can't have it on and have it stand on like that. They're just, to me, they're just a pain in the ass. And I'm happy to be trying something new. And then plus this thing packs away, fits in my backpack, doesn't take up much space. And honestly, I think this is probably better made. I feel more comfortable wearing this than a hunting design harness. So I'll show you guys the process. I already took everything off. I got it set up. So you got to remember that's part of the that I didn't show you in the video. You have to be careful, you know, not to ding metal together as you're setting it all up. But as is right now, I have my 3 stands, my 3 sticks on the tree over here. I'm going to be able to access these 2 from the ground. And then I'll take this one. I have a paracord tied to it. I'm going to tie it to loop in my belt, or my belt loop. And then I'll pull this one up, and that'll be the last one I set up. And then my stand's in my back. I'll be able to take it off up there and set it up. If you haven't seen my video of the Lonewolf Assault mobile setup, or customizing the Lonewolf Assault, you see that I use these military style straps, and the nice thing is that they're just easily adjusted. Get your hand in and out, everything. See that? So in case you have a lot of clothes on and whatnot, you can get it off easy up there. You're not fighting with it, you know. So just tie this off here. And then of course, if I was hunting for real, I'd have my bow, and I'd do the same thing with my bow. I'd tie it off, I'd put it on the other side of the tree, so as I lift one up, it's not dinging into the other one, knocking it down and making noise. So first I'll start out with just one I put it, if I was trying to get up high, I'd probably push it and put it up here and jump up into it. But usually I'm okay with that, with just getting up 12 to 15 feet, unless there's something in my way, a reason to get way up there. But I'm not a big believer in thinking that you have to be 30 feet in the air to kill a deer. Okay, that's it. I'm up, I'm in, I'm tied off. If I was hunting, I'd be pulling my bow up right now, and I'm all set to hunt. So that's all there is to it. This is the first time I'm using this harness setup, and as you can see, I was making a little noise. So that's the reason why we have to practice it, because I already know I got to do something with that carabiner clip. It's way too loud. And then, as you can see, when I was pulling up that last stick, it hung up on the other strap, hit against the other stick, made a noise. Yeah, that could scare off everything, you know, within 200 yards of here. So that's why I have to practice it, so I get better at it and be able to do it quietly.